Yo! What's up? This is my first Q&A on this channel, and we talk about how I fund my nomad lifestyle of traveling the world and making a living. We talk about books that have influenced me and the biggest mistake freerunners make on social media. Let's get going. Good morning, welcome to the first episode of Ask Jason Paul, or my Q&A. Yeah, I just woke up super early because we have a bunch of stuff to do today. Snuck out from the lodge we're staying at next to the mega ramp at Camp Woodward to get some quiet time and you ask some questions and I'm gonna answer them for you guys. Why I'm excited to do this Q&A kind of episode? Because I love the vloggy or the creative style of videos, and they're fun to make, and I get to talk about ideas or stories in a really creative way. But sometimes I would love to really sit down with you guys and answer some of the questions you guys give me more in detail and be more practical and really dig a little bit deeper than I can in like a normal day. So that's why I'm really excited to do this, to get a little bit more practical and go a little bit more deep and really answer some questions and talk to you guys about some stuff. So you guys asked me like 400 questions. I went through all of them. There were so many amazing ones in there. I really loved it. I went through and kind of tried to find a red line for some things that I wanted to talk to you about, some things that I feel like I can talk about or I have some knowledge about, and kind of give you guys some info on questions that I get a lot. So let's get right into it. So Lee Running Sasaki. Hey Jason, you're such a huge inspiration to me. I just want to know how you appear so carefree and happy all the time. Lee, thank you so much. That's cool. And exciting to hear that I can be an inspiration. How do I appear so carefree and happy all of the time? I think one huge part is that I managed to build a lifestyle where I get to do the things that I enjoy doing, which is being creative and making creative projects where I have control. It is being around the people that I want to be around, that are positive and that are exciting, that I'm excited to be around. And traveling, which is huge to me. And whenever there is a day that like I work very hard to live this lifestyle, and it's amazing and it makes me happy. But of course there's always a day where you wake up and maybe you don't feel like going out and like kicking ass, or you don't feel like doing something. And that's usually when I remind myself that I don't get to be unhappy, because I feel like, fuck, I'm living a life that so many people would kill for to live or even get the opportunity to do that. I'm so lucky and I'm blessed and fortunate to be in this position. I would be a dick for feeling unhappy right now. I wouldn't deserve to be here where I am right now and feel unhappy. Then I should give this spot to somebody else if I don't appreciate it. So I kind of put into perspective, I look around and I look at the things that I can appreciate. It's either that I'm like, hey, this is amazing where I am and what I'm doing, or I get excited about the things that I can do to get me where I want to be that day, and really appreciate how awesome this is that I get to do this, and that makes me happy. Marble 2 Oda says, how do you fund your nomad lifestyle? This is a question I get a lot, and there's no like, I wish there was a very clear business model on like, hey, this is how I get paid to do exactly this. And it's kind of all over the place, and we're figuring it out as it goes. But basically it works like this. I have a very unique skill set that I get paid for. That skill set is, for one, being a free runner and the skills I have as a free runner, being an athlete, and then also the skills I have in making videos and going onto production and being creative with that skill of being a free runner and telling the stories using that. So I get usually paid for collaborations with different brands or companies. say Red Bull or GoPro, both brands that I love, that are excited to work with me, that I'm excited to be creative with, and we can create things together that create value for me and for Red Bull. And that's where those brands then decide to pay me regularly to do that. And that supports me a lot. Red Bull and GoPro give me like an amazing base to live off. They don't pay for my travels per se. It's not like they say, hey Jason, where do you want to go? We pay all your tickets. No, they pay me to represent them. For example, in this video and all the vlogs I make, and use their products and just do cool stuff together. There's other brands I do this with, and it happens not on a regular basis. It's more of a project. Brands will hit me up and email me and say, hey, we want to do a photo shoot, we want to make a video, and then if I like the brand and if I believe in what they believe, we'll go out and we'll make a creative project and I'll get paid for that. So, well, something just fell off a tree. So, how does travel come into play? A lot of times, to do a job, I have to be flown somewhere. Say, a brand will hit me up and say, we want to shoot this video and we want to shoot it in, say, Las Vegas. And that means they will have to pay for me to get there, and they will have to pay my expenses for the duration of that trip. A lot of times, getting to a place is the most expensive part of travel. So I will use that to say, hey you guys, you're flying me out anyway, and you have to buy me a ticket to fly back home anyway. Why don't you fly me to Thailand instead? And then all of a sudden, I've got a free ticket to wherever I wanted to go next. Now, that doesn't make a difference for the person who's hiring me because they have to pay for my travel anyway. Now, this is only possible and this is affordable to me because I don't have an apartment that I'm paying for monthly. I don't have a car insurance. I'm trying to keep all my living costs down as much as possible so that while I'm traveling, I'm not wasting money on an apartment back home that I'm not using. And that makes it a lot easier for me to afford a living wherever I am. I really love this lifestyle. I really love traveling, and it gives me a lot of new experiences, and it's really exciting to me. And I think a lot of people see it as this kind of mystery and like, how does this work, when a lot of people are doing this? So if you want to travel for a living, really, I think look into two books I can recommend that I think are incredible on that topic, which is one, Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek. That is all about generating automated income. That is making money independent from where you are. And then there's Rolf Potts's book, Vagabonding, which is all about clearing up the myth of how travel is something you can only do once you've made $1 million, and really teaching you how you can travel and live cheaply. And there's a lot of information and detail in that. There are a lot of jobs, like I know a lot of you guys are free runners and you want to make a living off of free running. However, you have to be realistic whether that's possible or not, and also look into other options you have. For example, I don't just do free running. The other passion I have is filmmaking and photography, and that's a huge part in me funding this lifestyle. Maybe there is something else that you're good at that you can already use to fund this lifestyle. Say you're a graphic designer, you're a video editor, you're a photographer. There's a lot of ways these people make money while traveling. So really look into what jobs you can do while traveling where it doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's how it works in general. I get work. I get hired by putting out my work. I make things for free, put them out on the internet, and then hope that people like it and notice me and get excited about working with me. And then I get paid for my time because my time is valuable, right? So that is kind of the gist of it. There are maybe a lot of things that I don't think about answering that maybe I take for granted. I think are common sense or knowledge. So if there's anything that you don't understand about this or that you want to know more about, please let me know in the comments. So the next one is Dominic Soons asks, which books have changed your way of living? So I grew up reading. My dad would always give me books to read, and he was a super strong influence in me reading, and ever since, reading was kind of my gate into whatever I wanted to do next, and it was my inspiration, and it created a lot of drive and motivation for me because I would learn about all these stories of different people and how to do things, and that would open up my eyes to what my potential is and what I can do. So I credit a lot to books and to reading, and I'm super thankful for my dad in instilling reading into me, and I recommend all of you to use this incredible tool. Like, there's so many books out there on anything, and a lot of times they offer a really, really amazing source of knowledge on very specific topics. So if you want to learn something, go for books first. At least that's what I do. I go and find a book on that topic. One book that definitely influenced my life heavily is by Gary Jennings, and it's called The Journeyer, and it's about Marco Polo's journeys from being a kid all through his life, and it has some really exciting stories of him traveling the world and meeting new people and going on adventures. And I think reading that book really molded on what kind of man I wanted to be, and also that it is okay to be different, that it is okay to be weird. It talks like a lot about like travel and sex and making money, and he's a businessman and they're trying to hustle and make it, and in the end it's just about, I don't know, being a person and being a man. I think it really shaped my vision of what I think I wanted to be. When it comes to more practical sense and a little bit away from inspiration, I really enjoyed Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Influence People. I think that's like a basic book I wish everybody would read, because it gives you the tools and the understanding that you can talk to anybody and you can reach so many things just through positivity and looking at the good in people. There's a car driving past, so I'm not sure if it's too noisy for me to keep doing this. Other books I've loved are the Robert Greene books. There's one called, I think, 48 Laws of Power, which is kind of dark, but it's very much about like business and outstanding people in history and what we can learn about them. There's another book by Robert Greene which is called Mastery, which I think is important which is great reading for everybody who wants to make a living doing something they love, but don't know what they want to do yet or what they love doing. And I think it can really give you a roadmap on how to find the things that you want to do and that you love doing and how to find them. Whenever I read Robert Greene or whenever I recommend Robert Greene, I also want to recommend the book Never Eat Alone, which I think is an amazing guide on how to make business positive. Whenever people talk about a lot of traditional books or movies or stories that talk about business, like the Steve Jobs story, and they all come with a lot of like negativity and people that like cut other people out or beat people and just had a very aggressive way of business where it's not about bringing each other up and winning by growing everybody around you. It's a lot about growing by cutting other people down. And reading some of those books, it made me feel very sad, where I was like, I want to be freelance, I want to be in this business world and I really enjoy it, but I don't want to be a dick to people. And I hated that idea. And it kind of got me sad for a while, where I was like, oh, I kind of don't want to do this if it means I have to be a dick. And then Never Eat Alone really opened my eyes on how I can be positive, that you don't have to be a dick, that you can help all the people around you, and by finding those positive connections you can be successful. And that was really exciting for me to read. It made me really happy and relieved in a way. There's many more. Those are kind of the first that came to mind. Next question. Marco Rivetti 14 asks, what do you think your career would be when you get too old for free running? First of all, I don't think I'll ever be too old for free running per se. I always want to be jumping and climbing stuff, even if I'm just balancing over a rail, up until I'm old, the day I die. That doesn't mean I want to be putting my body on the line, or I don't want to be doing it professionally and for a living until an old age. So what do I want to do when I don't want to be a professional athlete anymore? It's a super interesting question. I used to think about it a lot, but then kind of made a decision that at least up until I'm 30, the only thing I'm worrying about, the only thing I'm concerning myself about is learning new things and really following what excites me, and then learning those skills and building those skills. So what does that mean when I talk about it? That means free running there's one quote I really love that is, learn everything about something and something about everything. For me, the something I know everything about is free running. That's the one thing that I really look at and I'm like, cool, I have such a deep knowledge. I have a good idea. I can answer almost every question about that. I really know what's going on deep in the community and in the sport. Not saying there's not much to learn for me, but I feel like that's what I know a lot about. And then there's other things that I'm trying to learn about, which is video making and photography and traveling and entrepreneurship and building a business and making clothing and editing, meeting people and being social and growing as a human and having control about my habits and my fitness and my health. And I think all of those are like things that will help me find work and be able to make a living up until an old age. But right now, I'm not worried about how that's exactly going to happen. And all my life, I kind of never had an idea of where I would go and where the things I was doing would lead. Like, I never had an idea that I could make a living off of free running when I started it. I just followed that feeling and followed that idea of seeing people do free running and telling myself, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to have that skill. So I look at the world and at people in a way where I see them and I'm like, oh wow, Anand's really good at like breaking things down and learning new things. I want to get better at that. So I'll hang out with him and I'll spend time with him, and I would really tap into that type of his personality and try to learn from that. Dom is really sociable and they're doing really good at like meeting new people and connecting with people, and that inspires me in him. And so first of all, I find the people that I admire in one way or another and try to really soak that in and surround myself with people that I feel like, or I try to find where each person I meet is superior to me, and then I try to tap into that and learn from that. And then I look at skills people have and that are appealing to me, and where I'm like, ooh, the person I see myself becoming can do that and has that experience. So I then just go out and I make a point of going and making mistakes, doing exactly that. And learning and not worrying, where's this gonna go? What does this have to be to me? Because I think if you only treat things as how are they gonna make me money, how are they gonna pay me, you're gonna miss out on a lot of opportunities that you cannot plan for. So I really try to go by skills, things I wanna learn, and I told myself up until 30, that's what I'll do. And then I'll decide, like, then if I want to worry more about money, I still have so much time to build a different life. But up until then, I want to build my skills. I decided that maybe like 6 years ago when I was 20, and it's really become my attitude towards life, and it's kind of become an autopilot. And I don't know if that is even going to change, because at this point I'm really making money, and a lot of opportunities for work are coming towards me, even outside of free running. And that's super, super exciting, and it's telling me that what I'm doing is working, and that's making me happy. Next question, we're almost done. So Oliver Norden asks, what is the biggest mistake you see freerunners do on social media? Thanks for taking the time, Jason. First of all, I want to say thanks a ton, Ollie, for asking the question. I have huge respect for Ollie. He is like an incredible freerunner who's living a super interesting life. I got to hang out with him a little bit more when I was in Dubai earlier this year. And you should check out his channel. He has some incredible freerunning clips. And talking about making a living while traveling earlier, I kept meeting Ollie in all these different spots around the world while traveling. So I had to ask him, Ollie, how do you make a living? What do you do? And he told me his story of how Ollie makes a living playing poker online. And that funds his travel. And that pretty much means he can make a living wherever he is in the world. And that blew my mind of like ways you can make a living while traveling, independent of where you are. So, to Ollie's question, what's the biggest mistake I see freerunners make on social media? And saying, I think this is about like growing on social media and probably getting a following and getting attention to yourself and connecting with people, because that's what social media is about. I think the biggest mistake freerunners make on social media is that they think people understand what, like, let me rephrase this. So I think the biggest mistake people make is that they don't tell stories. Because everything we do, all the jumps we do, all the flips we do, every like amazing new tricks that we learn, the reality is nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck that Monkey Gainer was landed with a full twist. It doesn't make a difference to anybody in the world, and as a trick, it does not matter at all. Which doesn't mean it's not important, and it can't be important. What is important is the story behind that. What motivated and pushed you to do that jump? What did you learn about yourself doing that jump? Why does this make you happy? How is this growing you as a person? And really telling that story. What are the reasons why you do this? What does doing this incredible trick, or what is this jump you do where you push your fear do for you? And what's the story behind you that makes you do these extraordinary things? Because really, for whatever we do, the jumps and the tricks we do, we just see them as proof that what we do is working, right? We see a jump at height is proof that whatever I do to overcome my fears is working, and that gives me the authority to speak about how I got there. And that's where what we do becomes interesting and entertaining to people who don't understand the physics or the difficulty of a double side flip. And those are the stories we have to, those are the stories that if you share them and if you open up about them on social media, automatically what you do all of a sudden becomes interesting and it becomes relatable to everybody else out there. And that is the main exciting thing, is the story behind it. And that story is always like, there's only so many stories we tell each other as humans. which could be like a love story, it could be learning about yourself, it can be growing and overcoming yourself and progressing and taking control of your life. Those are the stories we tell each other as humans. There's just different ways we want to hear that story. Some people want to hear that story through a basketball player. Some people want to hear that story through a businessman. Some people want to hear that story through travel. And free running is just another way of telling that story. To find your story, what's special about it, and then connect with people through that story and give them value. And I think that's what we did with Ferrang. Why Ferrang was successful and why people enjoyed our videos is that we told the story of friends going out together and exploring the world and pushing themselves, and it was a story, and it is a story of friendship and going out and doing things together that are exciting and new, and supporting and pushing each other and heading out into this world as like friends and brotherhood. And that's what we live, and that's the story we really are telling. The jumps and the tricks is how we do that, and that's the reason, and that's the car we're driving in, but it's not the destination we're headed at. The destination and the journey is what's exciting. So tell that story, and more people will be able to understand and relate to you, and you'll have deeper connections with people beyond just like, whoa, yeah, that jump was awesome, you're such a crazy guy. Talk about why you do it, not about what you do necessarily. And I think in general, do more. Upload more, make more, and do more stuff. Make something every day and share that with the world. Don't get romantic and making something perfect. You always get another chance tomorrow to make something new and make something better. Make something today and put it out. Yeah, cool. I think that's it. Those were all the... So, let me know what you thought about the Q&A, if you enjoyed it. This will be a way longer video, and I'm really curious, I'm really excited. I don't care about like this getting necessarily as many views than my other videos. I'm really excited about really talking to you guys and digging deep into some topics and really starting a conversation with you. What are you interested about? What are you curious about? Ask me questions in the comments. I'm excited to do this again, so that's where I'm going to pull the questions from. So go into the comments and ask me questions, and then we'll do this again. I had a lot of fun, and now I'm going to get the day started. Peace out. I kind of want to slide down this mega ramp, so let's do it.